Sports fans, PB&Z Sportscast. We're going to do a little Super Bowl recap. We're also going to talk about the legacy of the Chiefs. We're going to talk Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford. But first, PB, big event tonight's happening in Canada. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's the Four Nations. It's a very interesting mid-season tournament, right?
Yeah,
I like it better than all-star games and that kind of
I
stuff,
agree.
and you got all kinds of players from all different teams playing for these four countries. It's Finland, it's Sweden, it's Canada, and the US. And they're gonna just do a round robin, and then they're gonna have a, playoff or whatever from there and determine who wins this thing. But it's been interesting hockey. It's been fun hockey. I did watch the Finland US game the other night, and I was surprised. I think it was four or five Florida Panthers on the ice. Most of them were on Finland's side.
Yep.
They had Lusterinen, they had Lundell, they had Barkov, and then of course you had Kachuk on the other side, on the US side.
Yeah, that's right. They both scored a goal, right?
Well, they both scored two, I think, and then Brady,
Yeah,
his
that's
brother
right.
Brady, who plays for Ottawa, was there, and you got guys like Boldy, Boldy from Boston College.
Yep.
He was on the U.S. team, so it was just fun to watch all these guys. It's just different than an All-Star game, and they play hard hockey. In an All-Star game, they just whatever. They don't even. And then in the past, they were just doing those like 3-on-3s or whatever, and people were scoring all kinds of goals. It was just nonsense. This is like real hockey, and it's
Real
fun
game.
hockey.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
tonight's the big one. USA plays Canada. USA has not beat Canada in international play since 1996. But I think times are different. What do you think?
I know. I don't know if they have enough. I mean, that Canadian squad is really good.
They are. They
They,
are.
they are. They're really good. It's 8 o'clock is the face-off. As a matter of fact, Finland and Sweden are playing right now. I think they played at 1 today.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. I'm going out tonight, but where I'm going has TV, so I'm going to ask them to put on TNT. There's not much else going on in the world of sports right now. Football's over. I don't think there's any basketball going on because
No,
they're
it's
at the
all
break.
break for the basketball. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
So hopefully I won't.
that'll be a good watch. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Fun
All
hockey.
right. Let's talk some football. All right, but
Yep.
first of all, give me a prediction. Can USA win? Will they win?
They can win, and they get some gritty, tough guys on that
I mean,
squad.
we just talked about the Chuck brothers. I mean, right there
Yeah,
alone, and they got Charlie McAvoy on defense from our
I know.
Bruins, right?
Yeah, I think my prediction is an overtime game, and Canada wins in overtime, just like they did against Sweden.
Okay. Okay. I'm rooting for the Americans. I got a
I
feeling they
am
got
too.
because they. By the way, the next round is in the Boston Garden, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they move around. Okay, I know they're up in
Yeah, I
Montreal
think the
right
next
now, but
round is in the Garden, if I'm not mistaken. Monday,
you should
Tuesday. Yeah.
go. You should go.
Oh man, you know it's probably sold out. I'm sure. Right, let's talk about football. Super Bowl last week. Philadelphia absolutely steamrolled the Kansas City Chiefs, right? I mean, it was what,
Absolutely.
24-0 at halftime.
Yep.
Mahomes was under pressure the whole game. I actually thought Patrick Mahomes looked like a JV quarterback in that game. Hate to say, I know he's under pressure,
It
but
was.
still, you got to be able to like do something about that as a quarterback. Do you agree?
It was like the Bucks when Brady was with the Bucks and beat the Chiefs all over again. That game was 31-9. Let's not forget that thrashing that they took,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
The score doesn't dictate the game though. I mean, 40-22, 18-point game. That game was an absolute blowout from the
It
beginning.
was.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 sacks without any blitzes. 6 sacks, no blitzes. That's unheard of.
Right. And they only had like 20 something yards of offense in the first half total. Like this is the downfall of the Chiefs. I will right now predict the Chiefs don't even make the AFC Championship game next year. I'm looking at the Bills and maybe the Bengals, Bills, Bengals, Ravens. I think the Chargers are going to make a big step up. I think the Broncos are going to make a big step up right in their own division. I don't think this team's going to be. They might make the playoffs, but I don't. I think they're one and done next year.
So PB, I got to ask you though, right? Let's think back in time because we have to compare it to the past. We have to compare them to Tom and Bill, Andy and Pat, right? Tom and Bill were 3-2 at one point in time in Super Bowls, right? Going after 2012 when they lost to the Giants for the second time. So 3-2 in a 10-year span, actually a little more, yeah, a 10-year span, 11-year span. They're 3-2 in an 8-year span. But is this the end, you think, of the dynasty and the legacy?
Well, I mean, as long as you have Andy Reid there, and let's still give Patrick Mahomes credit. He's still a talented quarterback, give him the right pieces and the right weapons. If they look what they did after the Tampa Bay thrashing, they readjusted, they got rid of Tyreek Hill,
Good point.
and
Good
they
point.
won a Super Bowl. So two in a
Two.
row, not to
Yep.
mention. So I think they have enough front office personnel, general management, and coaching to overcome it. I mean, they just got to beef up that offensive line again. They got to realize that, Kelsey's on his way out the door, maybe even this year. They got to realize that Pacheco is a shell of himself since his injury. I don't know if it's injury related or if he'll bounce back again next year or not. But they have some holes, some serious holes, and you still got to pay guys like, Karlaftis, who's going to be coming up on a contract soon. You got to still pay, Chris Jones. You still got to pay, McDuffie. There's guys on that defensive side of the ball that you have to pay. Their defense is still solid. I know Philadelphia scored a ton on them, but most of that was because they couldn't get the freaking ball on the field. That happens to defenses.
Good
if you're
point.
on the field the whole game,
Yep.
you're going to break down. And let's not forget there was a couple of turnovers in there. There was a special teams, a defensive touchdown in there. So their defense really didn't play as bad as a 40-point score looked. Kansas City's defense. I actually give them credit. I thought they played a decent game.
Yeah, you're right. But let me ask you a question. So, Tom never lost this bad to the Giants, right? Pats were winning both games going to the fourth quarter. They gave it up at the end. Both times Kansas City has lost Super Bowls under Patrick Mahomes. It's been complete blowouts, and I could argue that Pat didn't show up. And by the way, even when they won against Philadelphia 2 years ago, I thought Jalen Hurts was the better quarterback. If he doesn't fumble that ball before halftime that led to a touchdown return, remember?
Yep.
I think Philly might even won that game. So is the Pat legacy, first of all, is he ever going to catch Tom, do you think?
It depends how long he plays, right? I mean, you can see a team.
He's reckless. I see him getting hurt and not playing much, 20 years like that Tom did.
That's the thing. If he doesn't play as long as Tom, no, there's no way he will. But can he play another 10 years and maybe win another 3 Super Bowls? I think, like I said, I think they have enough management and front office and coaches to figure out what the holes are and still be a competitive team. I don't expect them to fall off the map, but I do expect them to not be in the playoffs, or not, shouldn't say not be in the playoffs, not be in the AFC Conference Championship game for the next couple of years. I could see that.
Right, yeah. The news up here around Boston, the Globe and everything, Pat never catches Tom. The legacy, the dynasty has run its course, and we're not going to hear about the Kansas City Chiefs much more. That's all the news up here. Maybe it's a little bit, people getting a little hysterical because they don't want to see that happen. But, by the way, one thing won't happen. I don't think Pat wins 7 Super Bowls like Tom did.
I don't think so either. And Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, you got 3 guys that have never won a Super Bowl, who are dying to get a Super Bowl, who are all going to be competing against that whole bunch of shenanigans going on down in Kansas City. They all root for each other. If Lamar doesn't win it, he's going to want Josh Allen or Burrow to win it, and vice versa without those 3 guys. So, and let's not forget,
those guys has to win one. They got to win one, or their legacy is never going to be cemented in gold.
Right. So I'm looking at all of them winning at least one in the next 5 years. So that leaves Kansas City out of the equation. And let's not forget the Chargers with, Harbaugh coaching. We saw they turned that around. They made the playoffs.
You got Herbert in that group.
And the young receivers that they have, and Vlad McConkey and company, I really like what I'm seeing in LA. I think they could take that division next year.
LA, big news this week. Not only that they get moving on from Cooper Kupp, but they're supposedly Matthew Stafford is on the trading block. Do you like any of those moves?
The Rams are an interesting team.
They are.
They could go 6-11, or they could go 12-5. I can't figure that team out. And, I don't know. I mean, they have good offensive pieces.
But when he's on the field, with him and Puka, I consider them 2 of the best twosomes in the NFL. Right up there with Burrows too, and Higgins might be moving on, right? But without a doubt, they're 2 of the best twosomes in the NFL when they're both on the field.
Yeah.
And Stafford, if you're the Rams, first of all, you're not getting a high draft pick, so you're not going to draft somebody to replace Stafford this year. They're going to have to make a move. So let's talk about the other guy that just got told he's not coming back. Aaron Rodgers, which I love this because I am not an Aaron Rodgers fan. I despise that guy to no end, like I do the Joker in tennis. This is the greatest thing ever, in my opinion, that he got cut basically from the Jets. Where does he end up though?
Yeah, and the Jets
Would he
are
go to the
just
Rams?
he right. I mean, he set that franchise back, and I think wherever he goes, he'll set that franchise back.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a healthy add to any roster right now, unless you go in to a season and someone gets hurt, your stud gets hurt, and you need someone there to either be the backup or back up the backup. And then maybe you bring Aaron Rodgers in for something like that. But to have him be the face of your team, I I think is a big mistake. A big
Great.
mistake.
I agree.
And
Hey,
he has too much like what's the word I'm looking for? But he feels like he has to be involved in everything that happens. He can't just go out and play this
the
game.
team revolves around him, including management. And I'm like, are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
yeah, don't
Just
like that.
Brady, who's a much better quarterback, a much better person,
Right,
never had that kind of cachet in
right,
Foxborough at the end of the day,
right.
right? But
Took pay cuts to help the team sign other
the
players. Yeah,
greatest thing he ever did in his life. Never was the highest paid player on the field ever, not even on his own team. The greatest thing he ever did. So Aaron Rodgers, you know what? Forget about you, buddy. I just I hope he's not anywhere. By the way, wild rumors he may go to Pittsburgh.
yeah, I heard that one too. Right, and they got a conundrum there with Russell Wilson and with Fields. What do you do?
He came out and said
Good.
we can't kill the owner. Actually, one of the Rooney said we can't keep both. One of these guys has to go and get his own
Yeah.
career someplace
Well,
else. We
let
can't hold him back.
let him set the Steelers franchise back a few years because he will if he goes there.
I'm okay with Russ staying. Justin Fields still to be determined. He might be a great quarterback one day, but he's an Ohio State quarterback, so I don't think so. But I don't see that. I'm not sure. I can ask you one other big name out there, Myles Garrett. Will Cleveland trade him because he wants out of town? And where's the best place for him to go?
Yeah, I think ultimately when a player indicates he wants to be traded and doesn't want to play for you anymore, you got to figure out a way to move that person to get something for him while he still has that value, right? Um, God forbid, you know, you hold on to him, he doesn't put out the way you expect, and now you have someone that you can't even get anything for. Like that's the worst case scenario. So
Yeah.
I think he'll move. Man, he could be a game changer if he lands somewhere like, let's just say like Buffalo as an example,
Oh
right?
my God.
Imagine,
Him and Von Miller together?
imagine. I mean, Von Miller's getting up there, but imagine that. Like if he goes to a team that can really, or any of the teams you just mentioned, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Buffalo.
I heard a story
Um,
this week that Dallas is looking at him.
yeah, I
From
don't
him and
think.
Micah? Oh,
Yeah, I don't think they'll Cleveland would trade him in the division. So I think that leaves Baltimore and Cincinnati out of the equation.
and I don't think they want to trade him in the conference. So that opens the door to the Cowboys if Jerry wants to finally do something smart.
Yeah,
That can make up for a lot of deficiencies on the back end if you got those two guys, Micah and him, on the edges.
yeah, he's a game changer. That the team he goes to instantly moves 10 points higher in the odds. If they're like 40-1 right now, they go to 30-1. If they're 30-1, they go to 20-1.
Yep.
That's how much of an impact I think he has.
To answer for a minute, why Cooper Cup? I mean, he doesn't have an outrageous salary. Why would they get rid of him? I know he's injury prone, but when he's on the field, he makes Puka. By the way, I've become a bigger fan of Puka this past year than I ever was before. I think he's one of the top six receivers in the NFL right now.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. He's a
And,
baller.
and it's because of Cooper Cup is on the other side. Without
That,
him, I don't know he's that good, right?
that helps. That does help. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. It seems a little strange, but
Wild one came out this week in the Boston News. Pat's looking at T. Higgins. What do you think of that?
yeah, I like that. I know I heard Vrabel too might look at AJ Brown and try to put something together to get him on the team. But you bring AJ Brown and T Higgins in. I don't think T Higgins alone is going to make a huge impact. I mean, I love the guy as a receiver, and I love giving Drake May weapons. But I think a lot of it's going to have to do with the draft too. Like, what do they take it for? If they take a receiver at 4, someone like Hunter, let's say, as an example, do they want to go out and get Higgins to complement that, or do they move in a different direction? I don't know.
Look at
Um,
this. I'm okay with the receivers they have as second players. They need a better offensive line. If they have a better offensive line, KJ Osborne, actually, I think they cut out Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry, a tight end. They got some receivers, and I love the kid. The Mario Thomas. I love that. I love that kid.
yeah,
So I think
Douglas, yeah, Demario Douglas.
Douglas. I'm sorry. So
Yeah,
with a big time number one. Those guys, like a
the-
Julian Edelman was,
but
like a
right.
Troy Brown was, right? You have a big time number one. Those guys make all the plays underneath. It's a different team. And if you could block, you got to block. First of all, it starts with the offensive line. As we saw in the Super Bowl, Philadelphia could block, Kansas City couldn't block.
Yep. No, it is. They got to focus on. I hope they go offensive line at
I do
4,
too.
and then pick up a receiver in free agency like a T Higgins, or maybe top of the second round. You can probably get a decent receiver there too. So that's what I'm hoping they do. But I don't think T Higgins is an alpha. I don't think he's an alpha wide
I
receiver
agree. I'm with
one.
you. He's good as a number two, but on the pass he would be a number one, right? But I'm
Right.
with you. He's not a
Right.
pure number one alpha.
Right.
Correct.
He's not a Justin Jefferson or a CD Lamb or, AJ Brown
There's
or those
another
type of
rumor. You
guys.
just mentioned it. CJ Cowboys T Higgins being secondary to
CD
C
Lamb.
Lamb.
Now you're talking. Yeah.
And,
Now you're
and, and,
talking.
and still, I'm a big fan of the other guy that's left to play for the Pats. Oh my God, just real blank. The Arizona State kid, Oregon State. Brandon Cooks.
Oh yeah.
He's still there as well. You got Cooks, you got Higgins, and you got CD Lamb. That's a wide receiving crew. Again, that makes up for your offensive line deficiencies at the end of the day.
Yeah, and they're gonna draft right now. Everyone's saying they're gonna pick up Gianti, Asa Gianti as the running back, which they do need help at running back. So imagine if they think they pick 12, and Gianti could be around at 12. We'll see.
I
But
think it's 8. No, I think they're actually 8.
oh wow, okay.
They have a really good shot. It's either 8 or 7, believe it or not, for the Cowboys. So we'll see. All right, man. So we're gonna have to get into hockey, basketball talk going forward, right?
Yeah, and then a baseball preview, obviously. That's not too
Lots of
far
news there.
away.
Sox made a big move with Bregman. I hate that son of a beat.
I know,
Now I
I
have to
know. I
like
saw
him.
that. I figured, oh, Russ is gonna love this. God. All right, but yeah, I mean, the pitches and catches report in a couple weeks, right? I'm not. When is it? Oh, your volume went out.
Really? Pitchers and
It's back.
catchers there now.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
So,
All right. So, all
all
right.
right, buddy.
Well, PB and Z coming at you.
Nice. Talk to you soon. Take
All
care.
right. See ya.